Hey guys, I'm Janet, on occasion, and today playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. So as you can see, I am starting paused, because, well, Vanguard shenanigans. So, yeah, and there's some things I want to talk about. So this is actually a community cast sent in by BlackHeart, and it's a good one, So, this is his sort of anti-dwarf build. And he did actually say, you know, in the email to me, he knows this is usually quite an easy pick, but it's a good one. He's got some fun tricks here. He's really taken advantage of some of the things that high elves can, that dark elves can bring. So I really enjoy it. So basically, he's got a dreadlord with a sword and shield, though mainly for the breath attacks and the terror. He's also got some dark riders on either side, so these guys will be great for harassing the back line, you know, enemy archers and artillery, and just basically keeping the slayers chasing something. Also here you can see he's got a couple of witch elves. The witch elves, very formidable. They've actually got anti-infantry, which I often forget, because I very rarely use them to kill infantry, honestly. I tend to use them to kill, to basically pin down big stuff. You know, I just use them as a way to pin things, you know, with that rampage. But they do have anti-infantry, and they're very capable. Also, you can see Hargneth Executioners, obviously fantastic anti-infantry and armor piercing. He's got a load of Corsairs, which are all anti-infantry as well. But these are more like the chaff. They're going to pin things down for a long time, because they're pretty formidable. They get some damage in. They'll do well against Dwarf Warriors, but Longbeards will beat the crap out of them. So it's, you know, it's interesting. But it's more of frontline, and it's a bit more formidable than the sort of, you know, bleak swords that aren't really going to get any damage in. So I like that. And obviously the Death Hag here. This is the interesting bit. So she's got some cool stuff. So if we zoom in here, come on, there we go. So you can see obviously Fury of Cain is a fun one of hers. It'll rampage one of your own units because you really good melee attack buffs. And when you're getting against a faction that has very high melee defense, you kind of want that. So that's a really good one. Also, Chillblade. Now this is very interesting in case of dwarves, because it's -5 melee attack, and dwarves don't have a lot of melee attack to begin with. It also lowers their speed, which again, they don't have much speed. So that's pretty great. Also, they frenzy, which is nice. But they've also got this Blood Shield of Cain, which is +11 physical resistance. Well, 11% physical resist. And the thing is, Witch Elves already have some. So if we look, the Witch Elves now are on 31% physical resistance, and Dwarves don't have a lot of magic attacks, so they're not going to be able to really bypass that very easily. So it's going to make these guys incredibly resilient, despite only having 5 armor. You know, they're going to shrug off a lot of the damage, and you know, when their melee attack is as high as 47, and they can, you know, rampage things, if these guys get on enemy heroes, they're going to lose all the ability to cast their runes and other abilities, because you can't use any items or, you know, abilities once you're rampaged. So these are going to be very scary. And the fact that they're that resilient is pretty scary, you know. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, and also, last of all, you can see over here, he's got 2 Shades. So, these guys, obviously, massive armor-piercing missiles. They're very quick on the feet, so they're never really going to get caught up to. And, yeah, they're pretty good in melee as well, you know. So, very dangerous, the Shades. And being able to Vanguard, it means you can catch out things like Ulthar's Raiders here. So, Ulthar's Raiders, obviously great sort of anti-large sort of units. I know they're not actually anti-large with their ranged, but it does a lot of armor-piercing, so they're great for taking out like the big, you know, monsters, lords and stuff. They get a lot of damage into those. Quite short range, but they're pretty damn formidable. And yeah, they got Mark of Ulthar, so they can lower people's missile resist, which is pretty great. So Ulthar's Raiders, fantastic. So this is a bit of a coup here. Also, you can see he's got some Quarrelers. Over here, you can see he's got a load of Miters of Blasting Charges flanking the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. They're going to be an absolute nightmare to get rid of. And then in the back, he's got some Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards, and some Dwarf Warriors, great weapons as well. So pretty varied infantry corps. But he's also got a Thane, a Runesmith, and a Dwarf Lord. So these guys are going to be very formidable. And in the back, you see he's got some Slayers here, he's got some Slayers there, and he's got the Gobblobber. So the Gobblobber you really want to shut down early, because that will do a lot of damage to very elite units. So Hargneth Executioners, they're going to have to watch out for that. But you'll see, he actually moves everything forwards and has the Hargneth Executioners just walk behind. He didn't want to slow down his army. He wanted to get all the dwarves pinned down and engaged, and then he'd get the Hargneth Executioners wherever he wanted, which is pretty cool, especially because he's got a load of stuff nearby already that can harass any ranged units. So let's speed things up, and we'll see how this goes. So straight away you can see here, Bugsman's Rangers, they're going to be taking a beating. So Shades shooting right into there, definitely going to hurt, and that is a lot of casualties very quickly. And the Shades have taken very little damage in return. And here, the Dark Riders are coming in to harass these Quarrelers. But at this point, as soon as they started backing away, I would have just charged into the Bugsman's Rangers, because that would have put them in a fight they didn't want to be in, and the Shades could have just kept shooting them in the back. You could have wiped these guys out very quickly. But he wants to get in the back and scout out this area, see if there's anything else he can take advantage of. So here you can see these Dark Riders going straight for the Goblobber. There are Slayers right next door, so, you know, these guys are going to have trouble, but it will put the Goblobber offline for a while everything approaches. Because you can see Witch Elves already taken a fair bit of damage from the Goblobber, despite the loose formation. So that's a real pain. Here, now this was beautiful. So Longbeards, very formidable. Almost wiped out a unit with a single breath attack. The tight formations of the Dwarves make them so vulnerable to breath attacks. So that is very scary. Oh, another thing, Death Hag does actually cause terror. So that is another nice thing. Because none of this stuff is going to be immune to psychology. So here you can see the Slayers are going to be chasing the Dark Riders. Over here, other Slayers are chasing other Dark Riders. And frankly, the Slayers are very valuable. You want them in here, you know, fighting the Death Hag and trying to stop the dragon from landing. So, you know, Boatman's Rangers still getting shot at. Corsairs are chasing, but it looks like they're going to end up fighting the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. And the extra armor piercing on the Dwarf Warriors isn't really going to help them much. So, yeah, so the BlackHeart Corsairs, I think, should have the advantage here. So, in here you can see the Dreadlord had come in. So these Miners blasting charges are going to get chewed up by the BlackHeart Corsairs here. But with all these Lords and, you know, heroes supporting, it does look great for them. In the front here you can see Norgrimling's Ironbreakers barely taking a scratch. The Death Hag is in here, all the Miners are, and the Longbeards here. Wow, even the Longbeards have got really messed up. So here the Hungath Executioners run in, and a beautiful breath attack. You'll see it takes half the health off the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. And these guys are so tough to hurt. So something like a breath attack that can actually just get that damage in is beautiful to see. So here you can see the Shades still, you know, still peppering away at things. Those Dwarf Warriors have been taken out, and now these Corsairs are free to start chasing. Actually, you can see they were already chasing, but they've turned back, possibly because they re-aggroed on the Dwarf Warriors, which is a bit of a shame. But the Shades now can start focusing on these guys. Over on this side, you can see the Goblobber getting charged again, because the Slayers have had to react to other units. So that's pretty great. So yeah, these Slayers are trying to get in from behind, but it's too late. The Dark Riders did a lovely big circle, and the Slayers couldn't keep up with them. So Goblobber now shattered. Over here, these BlackHeart Corsairs fighting Longbeards. They're not going to win that. They are not going to win that. But these Corsairs will get a bit of damage into these Slayers before the Slayers can creep out of here. Especially with these other BlackHeart Corsairs supporting. So those Slayers are in a lot of trouble. And there's still a lot of big units that you really want Slayers to be fighting. So over here, more Corsairs fighting. Here it's basically just Witch Elves, I believe. Yep, 2 units of Witch Elves fighting Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. But, you know, few stat debuffs, so melee defense has gone down a little bit. Unfortunately, the Death Hag doesn't seem to be in range anymore, so it doesn't have the melee attack debuff. But Hungath Executioners managed to get round behind, and are now charging the rear. And that is going to be really tough for the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. You see these guys, melee attack of 48, but they've got a ton of anti-infantry and armor piercing, so any hit they hit is going to hurt. And yeah, I like the alliteration there. Anyway, so the Death Hag getting a bit beaten up. She's Fury. Oh no, actually, sorry, this is a beautiful maneuver that I wanted to make sure I captured. So here you can see the Dark Riders are fighting a load of Slayers and things. That seems like a mental idea. But they there. Sorry, I'm finding it hard to speak today for some reason. All of these heroes and the Slayers were chasing down the Death Hag. So the Death Hag procced Fury Cane on the Dark Riders and actually puts their melee attack up to 51. Which is massive. So that charge actually killed a ton of Slayers. And it stopped all these guys chasing the Death Hag. So now the Death Hag can just wait for all of these reinforcements to come in. So now, there's Hungath Executioner's Witch Elves. These guys are going to start rampaging soon. If the Runesmith get rampage, no more runes, you know. The Lord rampages, basically none of this stuff will be able to move or pick targets. So they're just going to be stuck here fighting amongst all of this, like, peril. And it's going to put their melee attack down, I believe. Yep, so 33 melee attack on the Slayers. Here on the Lord, yeah, 40 melee attack on a Lord. Yeah, 35, you know, it's lowered their melee attack a load from rampaging. They have stopped again now, though. Rampage seems to work very differently, and I'm not sure the patch notes explained it properly. I need to work out how it works, because I feel like it's constantly just stopping working, but it put him in place long enough to, you know, get him surrounded. Here the Thane is completely caught out, just being killed to bits by these Shades. These Shades are basically ignoring these Dwarf Warriors. They're going to get killed by what's on the edge, and some of these guys can keep shooting. So the Thane is taking a ton of armor-piercing damage. Over here, these Corsairs still fighting the Longbeards, but these Longbeards aren't going to swing it. You know, if all this stuff gets killed, doesn't matter. It's just more reinforcements that could be helping out the Lords are, you know, busy fighting the Corsairs. So I think these Corsairs are going to join in the fight as well, help pin them down. 2, so that's pretty fun. Once again, the Lord has rampaged. Dragon just skirting around the edges. You know, the Death Hag's here, just making sure everything's debuffed near it, giving, you know, physical resist. Because, I mean, Hungath Executioners here, if you look, they have physical resist now, which is crazy. So, pretty formidable. You know, pretty formidable army here. It's pretty great. And the Dwarves, unfortunately, just didn't have, you know, what it took. Honestly, I'm not sure what the Dwarf player could have changed. I think maybe making sure the Slayers didn't run off like that. Make sure you get the Slayers on the Death Hack nice and early. Because as soon as you get rid of that, that is a huge boon for you. It removes all of that physical resist, you know, that it's giving to people. It puts your melee attack up. It's just a big target. You really want to get rid of the Death Hag, because those debuffs and the buffs are very potent. And it's a very expensive unit, so and it is surprisingly fragile. So you get a load of Slayers on it, it will get cut down pretty quickly. Also, the Thane, I'm not actually sure if he had the Tormentor Sword. I didn't see him proc it at all, but that would have been great for catching out the Dreadlord. And then again, Slayers, you know, because frankly, these Dark Riders, they can get on the artillery, but as long as you've got one unit of Slayers really just wrapped around that artillery, it's going to be very difficult for them to get in and shut it down. And then you've got your other unit of Slayers that can chase things down, you know. Shade's obviously a massive nightmare. With Bugman's Rangers being caught out and the Quarrelers being taken out very early, it meant they had nothing here that could actually counter the Shades. We didn't have anything quick enough to catch them, and frankly, you just had to let them run out of ammo. But letting these guys run out of ammo is very dangerous. I mean, 24 and 35 kills doesn't seem like a lot, but they were spending a lot of time shooting at Lords and Heroes, you know? They were getting a lot of damage into these guys. So, it's pretty scary. Pretty damn formidable. So, but yeah, I love this army. It's a very cool one. I like the Dreadlord and the Death Hag sort of combination. Amazing to see no magic, though. Because, you know, I mean, yeah, dwarves are, you know, have some magic resistance, but it's not the most magic resistance in the world, and frankly, not all magic has to be offensive. You know, you can use things like sort of buffs and debuffs, right? So if you bring shadow magic, you can use what's it called, enfeebling foe on something. Suddenly you can hit it really easily. Use an enfeebling foe on the Norgrim's Ironbreakers, and suddenly those Witch Elves are going to be able to actually get through that melee attack of theirs. So and it let that, you know, anti-infantry bonus hit home. Because that will add to damage as well as melee attack, so it's pretty formidable. But yeah, Norgrim's Ironbreakers, just, oh, beautiful, beautiful breath attack on those. That's definitely what you want to do. You know, get the breath attacks on the most expensive units once they're stuck in a fight. That way they just can't avoid it. Especially with the Death Hag slowing them down even further, so there's no hope of escaping a breath attack. So having a dragon, beautiful. So yeah, you know, usually favours the Dark Elves, but it's still great just to, you know, see specific, you know, purposes for everything. It's very nice to see. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys.